So what is it that makes us fall in love with certain brands, influencers, businesses? What is it that makes us purchase a $2,500 bike? Hello, Peloton. Or a $200 pair of shoes? Hello, Tory Burch.
Yeah, and how come I am obsessed with one person on social media more than I am other people? And how come I choose to listen to one podcast in a certain category over 10 or 15 other podcasts in that same category?
And as I end the soldier and poet. Yes, tell this to all the world.
Hello, and welcome to the Pod Sound School podcast. I'm Studio Steve.
And I'm Veronica.
I'm the creative director and know-it-allie.
I'm the marketing coach and the constant belittler.
Every week, we bring you inside the podcast industry, share with you strategies to grow your podcast, and share with you the lifestyle and struggles of podcasters.
Yes, and this is the first part of a 3-part series we're doing all about building a podcast brand. We're really excited about this. We also have a YouTube video that is a shortened spin on this series that you can watch, and we'll leave the link where you're listening. So
I promise I keep the belittling down.
Yeah, and I'll keep the know-it-alliness down as much as possible as well, too. I'm glad we got that out of the way. So we're always talking about podcast branding. We're always talking about tips and things that you could do to build your brand. And Veronica is our brand and marketing strategist for the Pod Sound School. And we're also working on our own brand and kind of doing a brand refresh currently. So I thought it would be a really good time to split this topic into 3 key strategies that we can all put to use, including us, into refreshing our brand or really just making sure that our brand is on point and really kind of taking a dive into what really even is a brand. And so I brought Veronica into the studio with me, and she is our brand and marketing strategist. Hello, Veronica.
Hello. Hello.
She has promised to keep her belittling to a minimum.
Yes.
And I have promised to keep my know-it-alliness to a minimum. So let's quickly just kind of define the term brand or kind of come to an agreement about what we mean by the term brand when we use it. There's a really cool article by Tracy Lloyd on the emotivebrand.com, and you'll find the link for that right where you're listening to this. It's a really great article all about the history of what a brand is, what a brand means, how it means different things to different people, how brands are evolving and changing over time. And there's this book by Marty Neumer, I believe, they talk about in the article, The Dictionary of Brand, that defines a brand as a person's perception of a product, service, experience, or organization. So it's their perception. But then this part is my favorite part that Marty Neumeyer says is a brand is not a logo. A brand is not an identity. A brand is not a product. A brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. Mm-hmm. So really a brand is our emotions. So, and then the other thing they talk about, there's a part in this article where they say brands are about feelings and feelings are complicated. And just to read directly from the article says, when you ask people why they love certain brands, it's often hard for them to pin it down. They might provide a list of rational and logical reasons, but in the end, it often comes down to a feeling. How does that brand really make them feel? And why do they come back for more of that feeling? What are your remarks on this, Veronica?
I absolutely love it. And I think it kind of gives you direction as far as how you should start building your brand or paying attention to the things that are part of your brand. Because I remember the first thing that we did was to find somebody on Fiverr to work on our logo. Mm-hmm. When that's not even the first thing that you do. Like the first thing that you do, and we're going to get to that, is to define like how do you want people to perceive your brand. Uh-huh. So it's not all these physical things that we hurry and get done without doing any thinking. Uh-huh. Is that how do you want your audience, your community, the people that you will have an impact on to perceive you and what constitutes your brand?
Yeah, I like that a lot. So brand is far more than just logos and colors and things like that, even though it is those things, definitely. And we're going to break each one of those things down. Before we move on to the first big strategy, then one last thing, and is why should I care? Why does it even matter to me? Or is it even worth getting through this 3-part series? Why do I need to focus on building, growing, defining, and refining my brand?
Well, there are a number of reasons why you should care about developing your brand or working on your brand as a podcaster or as a content creator. And the first one that comes to mind is discoverability. It makes it so people can identify you quickly. And what comes to mind is like when I'm scrolling down through Instagram and I see certain colors of a certain brand, then I know my eyes go directly to that brand because I know that that brand is associated with quality, things that I am going to like, things that I may purchase in the future. I'm into home decor right now because we are decorating our home. So those things that help the consumer or help your audience to find you more easy among thousands and millions of other brands.
So it helps with discoverability and just sort of to stand out from the crowd.
And then the second reason that I think it's important is brand association. Right now, just to give you an example, we're reeling into Peloton and just how their brand is all about community and empowerment. And they mix all that up with physical exercise. So when you have values that are connected to the services, products, podcasts, influencers that you like, that when you share those same values, then that makes it that you identified with that brand, product, person, etc.
Yeah.
So the more clear you are with your brand, the more you're going to find your people that will be excited to be part of your brand.
Yes, which brings us to a third reason why you should care. And that's because it will accelerate your growth. You're going to grow a lot quicker. You're going to stand out a lot quicker. You're going to grab attention a lot quicker. You're going to stop people in their tracks when they're scrolling.
And also word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because if you have a good experience with a podcast, if you have a good experience with a product, then you're going to be more likely to recommend it to somebody else. That's how it spreads.
Yeah. And so another reason is you'll stand out from the crowd and you'll also deepen your listener's experience is kind of the last point on why you should care. Deepening your listener's experience, because when you incorporate these brand messages that you may have or your core values, and then you reinforce those with colors and visuals that go into what you're doing, then you can communicate with your message on a more emotional level with your listeners and on a psychological level. You can actually affect their emotions and their behaviors by using some of these tactics or strategies, which is what we're talking about, and implementing them into your content creation. With that brings us perfectly to our first strategy, and that is where we're going to spend this episode. This whole episode is all about the first key strategy to build a podcast brand is to get visual.
So why it's important to get visuals, to have that visual element incorporated into your audio production, into the audio production of your podcast. In my opinion, a podcast cannot exist without visuals. Like we are very early into our podcast journey. Even when we're planning our podcast, we know that we have to create a cover art. We know that we have to create individual art for our episodes. We know that somehow we have to promote it on social media, and that requires visuals. And whether we decide to have a website or not, we're going to need graphics and visuals for our website.
Yeah.
Eventually. So I think that's why it's so important to introduce visuals, to introduce graphics very early on.
Yeah, I love that.
And also to have your brand established, and not established because like, as we are going to learn, our brand is going to evolve and is going to change.
Yeah.
But just to go through the process of developing our brand, even if it's our baby brand. You get that baby and you feed that baby.
Yeah, so it's really important to just embrace the visual component and go crazy with it. So we're going to get really visual for the rest of this episode. We know that it's important and we're just going to do it. The funnest part for me, and this has always been really fun with our clients and stuff too, is choosing the colors.
Yes.
But it's also a struggle for me. And if you've been following our brand and watching our, what Veronica calls a sancocho of a brand.
It's a gumbo.
A gumbo.
That's
or
the Colombian version of a gumbo.
just something you mix a lot of different ingredients into.
A lot of different ingredients.
Whatever happens to be like going bad in the fridge.
Yeah, now that you mentioned like going through that process with our clients, I think it's the funnest part.
Yeah,
that
right?
and the podcast, creating the podcast trailer.
Yeah, the trailer
Because I
and the
think
cover art.
that's their first, like they're tipping their toes into what developing a brand is and what they want for their brand.
Yeah. And so it could be a very daunting thing to pick your brand colors.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned, we're doing a brand refresh now. So we're actually going through new color palettes and reevaluating our core values.
We're revamping our website too.
And revamping our website. So choosing colors. And here with choosing colors, I thought we'd spend some time, not too much time, talking about just colors. The idea here is to be intentional.
What's your favorite color?
Well, my favorite color for a long time has been red. And then it's kind of also like a terracotta or like brown, like naturey red colors. What's your favorite color?
Black.
I knew that. Yeah. I like black too. But yeah, I think just red, has always gotten me for whatever reason. So you want to be intentional with your colors. And there's a really cool couple of articles on the 99 Designs website that I just love and I think are really a good read if you're doing a brand refresh or if you're just kind of wondering what colors should I choose. And the first article is by Anna Lundberg, and it's called Color Meanings and the Art of Using Color Symbolism. And this kind of stuff just excites me. So there is a part I'm going to quote directly from the article that says, millions of years of biological conditioning have created certain associations between colors and objects or emotions. While some associations may be more recent, understanding these associations will give you a shortcut to people's hearts, provoking a specific emotion and maybe even a behavior. And there's the end of the quote from the article there. And this article is just really cool because it talks about cultural differences between colors. And then what it gets into also a little bit in the article is color combinations. So we all kind of have these ideas of color. We could probably agree on most of just the colors by themselves, right? So what do you think of, for example, Veronica, with the color red? Like what most people think of with red?
Blood, mayhem.
Ooh, interesting. Well, I think that, and according to this article is like passion, right? And energy.
Oh.
And then, in danger, like a stop sign, right? And I think it is because of those things in our natural environment. We see blood. So red is always going to immediately make our brain think of blood. What about orange?
The sun.
Yeah. So there's the sun. And we see orange in time in our regular environment. Mimosas. Oh yeah. Orange juice. Mm-hmm. But you think about traffic cones, right? Or you think about the warning signs that come in orange. According to this article, it says that orange is for creativity, youth, and enthusiasm. And then, you can go on and we could talk about what yellow's for. Is it happiness and hope and spontaneity? Or green, which is obviously either nature or money, right? And so anybody who is like wanting to have a line of organic products is going to put green on their packaging. Blue is for calm and trust and intelligence. So you see blue a lot with like American Express and Visa and PayPal, use blue. Microsoft uses blue as well. Purple is luxury, mystery, and spirituality. And I've always thought of purple as like royalty too. Mm-hmm. I've loved purple too. I feel like it matches my name, Stephen.
Purple and gold.
Ooh, yeah, and gold. Now gold and metallic and shiny colors, that's a whole different thing too. And if you want to go with that also gets into textures, which is something else, because what makes gold different than just being like kind of an orangey, yellowy brown is that it has this shine to it, this texture to it, this metallic look to it. So there's texture and color. And then, pink is for femininity, if I said that word right, or playfulness, or even romance. Brown is for wholesomeness, warmth, and honesty. So a lot of times I think the first place you could start is with a single color. Black is sophistication, elegance, and power. And then white is minimalism and simplicity. All of these were the headings of this article at 99 Designs. So definitely go check that out. And then there's another article that you'll find on 99 Designs by Chris Decker. It's called The Fundamentals of Understanding Color Theory. And that's pretty cool too. And that gets when you're mixing colors together a little bit as well. So I'll leave the links for both those for you guys to check out. That may or may not be part of your homework at the end of this episode. But to me, it's like you have these
La tarea.
have these singular colors. But when you put red, what happens when you put red and blue together? Or what happens when you put orange and purple together? Then it takes on a whole new meaning. And what we just noticed is, Veronica immediately goes to blood for red, and I go to something completely different. So it's something that is kind of hard to choose, but it is something that's going to evolve over time. And there's tools that can help you do this. One of my favorite is sort of a Canva hack. You maybe have heard me talk about it before, where you go to canva.com/colors, and it brings up all these tools for color discovery.
We have a tutorial, no?
Yeah, and we have a tutorial on our YouTube channel where I show you exactly that, how you can choose the colors for your brand.
It may or may not be part of your homework.
So now we're done with that. We can move on to how to incorporate graphics and video.
Yes. So, and for this, we divided this point into two. One is for those who definitely don't want to show their face on social media or anywhere. They don't want to be part of their brand. They don't want to make it a personal brand. And then the other one is are for those people who are like ready to go all in and show their beautiful faces.
Okay, so first, I don't want to show my face.
I don't want to show my face. Ew. No, never.
Well, for that, what can we do?
There's not a right or wrong way to go with this. We didn't want to show our faces. Steven didn't want to show his face when we started our brand. And that's why we started with animated videos. And then from there, we're like, oh, okay, whatever, like people would like to see us better than our animated characters. But there are so many things that you can do. You can get so creative that don't require showing your face, right? And the first one is audiograms. Audiograms is one of those things that if you're in podcasting, you're very familiar with audiograms. Those are snippets of your episodes with quotes or interesting things that were said during the episode. You don't need to show pictures of yourself. You don't need to show pictures of your guests. You can just do text, and that's where the colors come into play, your brand colors, because you can do all sorts of fun designs and use different tools too. Steven uses Canva and he uses Headliner as well. So you can create audiograms without showing your face. Then the second thing that you can do is that you can use animated stock photos and videos. I know many podcasters who do this, and they are doing a very good job. They're being very successful at using stock photos and images that, I don't know how to explain it. They're part of their brand. They go along with their brand, but they are not them themselves,
Yeah. I think there's perfect examples of stock footage or funny little clips you can take from Canva
or GIFs
or things that you then, how they do it, I think, is they embed those little videos with a border that has their brand color or with strong fonts that they've chosen that they always use for each one of their posts. So their posts are all kind of look like they're all, if you were to take all their posts and all their graphics and you were to separate them and put them onto one giant piece of paper, it would look like a brochure. It would all match. So every time you see it, there's like the strong yellow color. You know that it's that certain podcast, right?
Yeah. And if you're new to graphic design, if you feel lost and overwhelmed like me, the majority of the time, every time I open up Canva has templates that you can access to, and you can play with the colors and the fonts and things like that without deviating too much from the original design. And that will help you to gain some confidence. And then ultimately just have that white canvas and just add elements to it and create your own design.
Yeah, and you can create also very easily templates in Canva as well too. So you always have sort of your brand colors are always just chilling there in a couple basic social media designs that you build on top of. So it's a very quick thing that you can build into your workflow.
So if you were wondering, if I'm not showing my face, then what am I going to do? Oh, OMG. Well, don't OMG, because I'm here to the rescue. Something that I've seen on social media that works really well is when you spark curiosity about something.
Yeah.
So if you share a post with something intriguing, some kind of a quote or a question, or you can share polls or quotes from the episode that spark curiosity, so people want to go and find that episode and listen to the entire episode because of that.
Yeah.
So you can do that, or you can do, I like shareable content, and this is something that we haven't been doing lately, but was very successful on our Instagram account. Is just to have that carousel with 5 tips or things that you can list that you think that your audience will find useful. And Instagram has different features that you can reshare that post. You can save it for later. You can share with other people within Instagram. So those are really, really good because all that saving and sharing, what it does is that it activates the Instagram algorithm.
Yeah. Like any other algorithm.
Like any other algorithm.
Yeah. Definitely. So it's about creating things that people are going to like, that they're going to talk about, and that's going to stir up conversation.
So shareable tips or DIY hacks or things like that, or
from
quotes.
the episode.
Yeah, I remember I posted something. We posted something about our tools, our 10 tools for podcasters, the things that we use daily here at the Pod Sound School. And that was saved like 300 times. And for us, that's a great number.
Yeah. Yeah. People like that stuff. Let's move on to, okay, I'll show my face.
I'm willing to show my face.
I'm willing to. I'll show my face.
Show your face.
So showing the face.
Showing the face. This is when things get so fun.
Well, I like the showing the face because with showing your face, this is how you can immediately stand out and be unique because nobody's you. So the first thing with showing your face is make your face look the best it can. Utilize some lighting, first off, and just you can get really cheap lighting off of Amazon, so there's no excuses. Or stand right next to a window and think about how you're going to compose your shots. Just look into shot composition a little bit and make sure that you're, pointing the camera at you at an angle that's most flattering. Once you have that taken care of, then just showing your face is great because immediately it's going to be like, oh, it's that guy, or oh, it's her, But then there's things that we can do that that help us to tie in our brand with showing our face, and that's with that can come into play where if you want to put your logo on top of the video, if you want to actually have a physical logo behind you in the frame or inside the picture of the video, or a backdrop can be really powerful too. If it's your color of your brand is your backdrop, or props, you can even wear certain outfits that fit your brand colors and your brand styles. All of those things can work in your favor with your brand because of the power of visual storytelling and the power of using symbols and colors to evoke emotions out of people. Certain shapes, certain props, certain outfits, and also a certain professionalism or non-professionalism, kind of the style of how you film your videos, that also is going to affect people emotionally on a different level. If you want to, for example, if you want to come like you're just being very authentic and very like real, then you're going to want to look directly at the camera, and using, maybe even just hand holding the camera like you would an IG story would be the most intimate way that somebody would connect with you. But if you're being more educational and informative, maybe it'd be better to use a higher quality camera, to be at a little bit of a distance from the camera, and to do a little 3-point documentary style lighting, right? So there's so there's all these different ways that you can do that, right? Oh no, I got too know-it-all-y. Damn it. Sorry. So different ways that you can, what are some different things that we can do, content that we can do?
So short format videos, and that's something that we're getting into here at the Pod Sound School. They are very, very effective as far as showing what your brand is all about, and also to put you in front of more people. Because their algorithms are like crazy. I mean, all of the platforms are favoring short format videos. And if you're ready, I think you should jump on that train. You can do Instagram Reels. You can get on TikTok. You can do YouTube Shorts. And now Facebook too has that feature as well.
Yeah.
You can go live like us. We've been going live on our YouTube channel every Saturday at noon Eastern time. We hope to see you there. And you can go live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can do it on TikTok. I don't know if it's available for all of accounts, but I've seen people going live on TikTok. And there are so much to cover with live streaming that we would have to have an episode just for that, which we will soon. It's coming. But just a quick thing with live videos, what would it be?
A quick thing with live videos is the same stuff with all other content.
And by thing, I mean tips.
Tips, yeah, or thing or element to include, or how can I brand my live video? So I'm going live. Maybe you're using StreamYard or any software. You can usually use an overlay of some sort or a logo, or if anything else, just your name. And again, if you want to keep it really simple, a lot of people will actually hang the logo, like print it off on a big poster and get that printed off somewhere and hang that behind you. You could also, like I said, wear certain outfits or hats. I immediately think of a ton of different podcasters that I could shout out, but we haven't been shouting out, so I won't start that. But a backdrop would be really powerful too, especially if it's your color. And those things are ways that you can make sure that your content's branded. Beyond just your face.
And this also applies to the long format videos, which are the videos that we do for our YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, then all of these things applied, your backdrop, the props that you use, certain things that you wear, all those things can help you with brand awareness.
Yeah. And then that's all before you even touch the post-production process.
Yeah.
So there's a lot we could do in post to attach our brand to things. We can put a logo over any piece of video.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep it simple and you want to just be able to pump out content, it's cool if you could brand yourself and your environment.
Yeah.
Which is also something we're doing since we've had this opportunity to kind of build a new studio from scratch that has just been months and months in the making now. And we're still sort of in just this insane jungle of not having anything ready yet. Is we're actually going to use our brand colors, our new brand colors that we have in mind. We're going to build those around us and paint the walls those colors and have it so that when we shoot videos, we're actually sitting inside of a branded sort of color space.
Yeah. And something interesting, because we've been interviewing podcasters, because we're working on this project that you'll soon know what's about. One podcaster in particular, we were talking about video and how it's just so important for them just to have something that they can look at. They have a channel with all of their videos and their thumbnails and their colors. And it packages well what they have going on with their podcast and their brand.
Yeah.
And it's also this idea about, like, don't get so fixated with your podcast. Like, I don't want to insult you, but don't be so precious about your podcast. Your podcast is just one of the things that adds to your brand. Your podcast is just one of the elements. I want you to expand that vision, to expand that knowledge, to incorporate more things into your brand. Whether you're showing your face or not, there are numerous ways that you can expand your brand and add more elements to your brand, not just your podcast.
Yeah. And with that, I'll just finish up this by saying it's amazing what strong, colorful graphics, text, and shapes complementing your podcast and your video can do, the effect that it can have on your audience. And what happens is you actually become imprinted in their mind with these colors, especially after they see them over and over again, like a catchy melody, you get stuck in their head. And that's the power of branding. It really does affect your audience on a more psychological and emotional level. And so that's it, really. And now we can move on to the final part of this episode, which is your homework.
Your homework. La tarea.
La tarea. Make sure to do this homework. It's 5 parts. Part number 1, define your core values and your mission. And then once you've done that, see if you can choose a few words and then assign colors to those words. So for example, in our case, we have a few words that we can define. And that one is
that are our core values.
That are our core values. And these have pretty much stayed the same since the beginning. But now it's something we're really trying to infuse into the color choice and the visuals of our brand, which is unrestrained, fun, creative, and professional. So what we could do is we could think about, well, what color does unrestrained bring to mind? And then we could survey ourselves and other people on that. And it's funny because when I think of unrestrained myself, I tend to think of like a blue or maybe even a little bit of a yellow unrestrained.
Really?
But Veronica immediately thought of red. And I did a little quick.
No, and now I think it's brown or green.
Oh, okay. Because, and then people on Twitter were saying red and crimson red, like unrestrained. Like it's just, I guess restraint or unrestrained might not even be the right word because it refers to being restrained. And so you're being set free. But that really is a core value of ours, is to help people to be set free and to help them get out of their comfort zone. And so this is just a little peek inside the struggle that we're going through. So definitely watch along as our brand colors change because it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So that was number one.
That was number one.
And number C on our list is actually number two.
Your core values and mission. Number two is research and survey color meanings. And we're going to leave the link of the two articles that Stephen mentioned in this episode so you can go and check them out. And you can also do your research on your own. And if you haven't played with Canva, we highly recommend that you download Canva, that you get a hold of Canva right away. And we're going to leave the link for that too in this episode show notes. And after you have downloaded Canva, we're going to leave the link to the tutorial, the video tutorial. So you can follow along and put your brand colors together. And lastly, we want you to share your brand colors with us. And with that, I'll just say goodbye.
Thank you for listening and happy casting.
Happy casting. Bye.